Already.
Yo.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen. Oh man, Juan, I haven't even got my intro in yet, bro. Like I haven't even said hello to
Back top
everybody.
7.
I haven't.
What are you talking
welcomed.
about, bro? Stop. This is how the show starts, right? We got to check in with the Juan Diaz, world renowned quarterback index. Back top
Yeah,
7.
bro. He probably want Gardner Minshew to play for us, just like he did for the Eagles last week.
Man,
At least he's better than their quarterback.
Gardner Minshew.
Nonetheless, good evening to all of those of you non-Dak haters. And a great evening to all of you current Dak haters, because you clearly need a little bit of extra love in your life. If you still hating on Dak Prescott in 2021. But I digress.
Digressed in.
We are here to talk about Week 13. Thursday night game against the Saints. Cowboys did come out with a win, 27-17 victory. Wasn't always the prettiest, but we came out with a win. Okay, see, Juan, this is an opinion that I can get with right here, right? Tony Pollard should be the number one back on this team. I agree. I've said it before. Zeke's hurt, so it shouldn't even be a contest right now.
Pretty hurt.
Well, let's talk about this game a little bit. So we're gonna run it up just a
hurt.
little bit differently than what we normally do. When we do these recap shows, we have a couple heavy hitting discussion topics to get into. So what we really would like to do is just kind of run through some quick notes on the game, kind of hit some of the the main stats, key plays, things of that nature. Hit our winners and losers as we do. And then we got some season to date discussion topics to run through. One that is very near and dear to my heart. I sincerely hope that our listener from last week, Los, is back on, because I built one of these questions and discussions just for him. But about the game, so we got Dak Prescott had a decent game, 26 of 40. So about 65% completion, 238 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Dak was okay, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a Dak guy, right? Like if Juan wants to say Dak was top 7 last week, fine. That's acceptable.
Because he did his MVP. Dak cooled off.
Yeah, I don't know that he's. But I don't know that, who's really separated themselves either, right? Kyler missed 3 games. Josh Allen's kind of had his up and downs. Maybe Mahomes kind of starting to make a push for it now. Brady's been pretty consistent.
I was about to say Brady really
to say it.
The MVP.
The Rams lost like 3 or 4 just now, right?
Yeah.
Rodgers is maybe in that mix. So do I think that, he's definitely died down from that level that he was playing at? Yeah, for sure. I do. But that doesn't mean that he's not in the MVP conversation with a strong close the last 5 games of the season. Yes, Juan, MVP. We still talking about it.
No, MVP?
Yeah. I see all the question marks, bro. I chose to replace his question marks with an exclamation point.
That wasn't a chant, bro. That was a question.
Well. I got to go back to grammar school and get my punctuation right. But I mean, look, Dak made a lot of good throws, right? Like that one to CD, what was in the third quarter, that little seam that just like tucked in over the defender. That's one of the best throws I've ever seen Dak make, period. Right? In his entire career. I mean, that throw was insane. Now, Coop, he says Dak is not top 7, but I need
Oh
some.
no, we're not
I
even
need
going.
to know
We're
which
not even
side.
getting through this. Yeah,
I need to know which side of the top 7. Right? Yeah, y'all can't talk to
we're
me
not
about
even.
Dak, bro. We're gonna be here for 2 hours.
We're
We
not
talking
even
about
gonna
Dak
get
the whole
through it.
show.
I'm completely fine for the show to get derailed, and we only take
Just
comments and just
take
talk about
comments
it.
and talk
I'm
about Dak.
completely
Oh
fine
man.
with that too.
Oh man. I don't know that y'all want me to do that because
Yep.
I will not
Because
stop.
you're
I
just
won't
gonna
stop.
fight with everybody.
Yeah, I won't stop.
Yeah, so I'm with it.
Oh, see now, Josh, I'm not even gonna. I'm just not
Josh,
even gonna.
you
No, bro. No. Moving
you getting
on.
them going.
Yeah, we're not doing it. Talk about GOAT
What's wrong
Brady.
with Brady? What's wrong with
Well,
what's
first of
wrong
all,
with
you in
Goat
the wrong
Brady?
chat to be talking about Tom Brady.
Mm.
I don't have any, like admins on this show that watch the chat yet, but I have no problem multitasking and filtering through
You
poor
go block him?
comments. So
You go block him?
I'm not saying I am or I'm not. I'm just saying that, be careful about your comments in the chat.
Look, 146 rushing yards on 24 carries. It was a pretty anemic day on the ground. I believe in the preview I talked about that.
Damn, Wilson is still better than Dak?
Russell
Wilson
Wilson?
hasn't even already played this year, and the offense is terrible. Oh, Coop. See now. I'm sorry, Tyler. Go ahead. We're just gonna let this chat flow because
Russell
just
Wilson. I think
stop it.
Russell.
Stop,
I
bro.
think
Stop.
he. Yeah.
Stop it. Not this year.
Nah.
Not this year.
I mean,
Not a
no
chance.
disrespect to the body of work, but
Yeah, not this
yeah.
year, bro. Not a chance.
Okay.
All right. My
We
bad.
hit no. You good? Hey, like I said, we can take comments all day. We had mentioned that the run game, they're susceptible to the big play, but
Sure.
that they were pretty stout run defense, if there was one thing that they could hang their hat on for the season. And it was exactly that. Pollard got loose for 58, 60 yards, right?
Yeah. CD
But
gets a 33-yard run that
right.
was really a screen pass, but
So
technically
outside
thrown backwards.
yes, yeah.
Right.
But outside of those 97 yards,
Yep. Yeah, like I was looking at it, right? So if you look at just the base level, you say 146 rushing yards on 24 carries, right? Which is a nice number. That's like 6 yards a carry. But like you said, right, you take away the 58-yard run, you take away the 33-yard run from CD, and what you come away with is like 22 carries for 55 yards or something like that.
Yeah, and that's more representative of what was happening. 1-2 yards done.
Right. It's like 2.5 yards per carry for the team as a whole if you take out those two plays. And Pollard really didn't have a whole lot going outside of that 58-yard run. But man, Zeke just again, 13 carries, 45 yards, just over 3 yards per carry. Oh boy. See, Coop, we're not doing this, bro.
No. Let's
We're
just
not
do
gonna
it.
do it.
Let's just do it. Do it.
Joshua Cooper says.
No, let me narrate it.
Oh, okay.
No question he is. No O-line, no running back, no losing season ever. Give Russell Pollard, Zeke, Lamb, Gallup, Cooper, Schultz. Oh, and the Hawks have statistically the worst defense. I think he meant worst. The worst defense in the league this year.
So that's 7 mitigating factors as to how Russell Wilson could possibly be better than Dak Prescott. Okay.
You did?
Sure. That's great. Hey, you know what? Sweeta making the point of the show already. Russell Wilson does have Sierra. So
hey.
It's kind of hard to argue. Yeah, Dak doesn't. Well, he doesn't have Sierra.
It's not Sierra.
It's hard to argue that point.
I think that's done.
Look, man, I just. All right, so we were actually kind of talking about this a little bit before the show. We're going to get more into the O-line, a little bit later on.
Yeah.
But the Cowboys, what was this? You saw that stat pulled up? They're 25th in the league in pass block win rate?
Yeah.
They're not passing well for Dak.
Right.
Tyron,
they're not blocking.
Their best their best tackle, right? Missed 3 games. Lyle Collin missed 5 games. Zach Martin had to miss it. Like, come on, man. We can't do the yes has Sweeta. Thank you for clarifying. We can't do the no O line thing, right? And the no running back. They have a really good running back. Chris Carson just can't stay healthy. So sure, I suppose you could go there if you're saying that a good running back is what makes a good quarterback. Which, okay. And then we want to talk about the receivers like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett or nothings. Like, come on, bro. Koopa CD versus DK and Lockett. Sure, I'll take Koopa CD, but not by that much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like it's not close, right? These aren't B-level wide receivers that Russell Wilson is throwing the ball to.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that we need to. Y'all got to pump the brakes on my boy Dak here so I can get through the show. That's really it. Because I'm not gonna make it if y'all keep coming for my man's like that.
Look, man. Speaking of the receivers, though, right? CD
Yes.
did his
Back on
thing,
track.
right?
Back on
CD
track.
did his thing.
Yeah,
7 for
89 with a touch.
Yeah, man. Coop was effective. He the dude is just a warrior, right? Like he can go out there and make a play. But I looked at the end of the snap counts, and he played 24 snaps, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and in the second half, it was only like obvious passing situations he was going in the game, right? So I don't know. I just hope he gets help. I mean, that's kind of, and I'm sure we'll talk about that, with the injuries and, the team getting healthier towards the end of the season. But just want to see Coop get healthy because he's just so talented, right? Like, even at, half of himself, he's still able to go out there and, grab 40-yard receptions like it's nothing and make people miss and whatnot. So just hope he continues to get healthy.
Yeah, man. If Russell Wilson had Amari Cooper sitting on the sidelines the last 2.5 games, that really would have helped him be a better quarterback, I'm sure. So,
Dak's passing game did elevate with Amari Cooper
it
coming.
does. Of course it is. He's a great route runner. Why wouldn't it elevate?
Great wide.
Everybody's game elevates when they play with better players on their team. That's not a hidden fact. That's just a fact. But yeah, it wasn't, what we kind of saw from Dak that I like that we kind of got back to where we started to get more of our receivers in there is he really hit a lot of targets, right? He was spreading the ball around. Everybody out there kind of had 2, 3, 4 catches. Man, third down was just
not on third.
Bad, bro. Yeah, we went 2 for 13 again on third down conversions on Thursday. There's been some tough spots, right? There was some good stuff. Like you said, you saw Dak spreading the ball around. You got to see a little bit of, those 3 wide receiver sets with Coop and Gallup and CD. But I mean, we're still not all the way back, right? To your point with Coop, offensive line kind of still figuring that out. Why are you coming for Baker, bro?
Baker Mayfield just caught a stray. Somebody call an ambulance. Somebody call it. He just caught a stray.
Josh hit it with that blah, blah, for no reason, bro. We're not even in Cleveland. Come on,
and Bulls don't have names on it. Both that one did, but
Baker. I don't know. I want to like Baker.
Sure. The only thing with Baker though that I kind of don't like. You're not going. Okay, bro. So you playing injured, and then in every press conference he tries to be like, just a lot of things piling up, but I'm not going to talk about it. So
that's true.
I mean, come on, man.
I will say that the Browns have not won this much football like ever in their history. So Browns fans should probably just be happy they have Baker, because if not, they could have insert one of any Baker's dozens of guys over the last 20 years here.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope that. It just goes to show like how quickly it can turn around, right? Like, Baker won just a little bit there,
right?
And now they're just thirsty for it, like they've been, some great winning franchise. Like, bro, you're still. Do you really let me flip back 5 years?
Right, you're winning more. Chill out.
I think Olivia's in here.
Hi, Olivia.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Loud and clear.
Okay.
Guest appearances. We love that. Okay. So the offense had some struggles. The defense
ain't no struggles.
Okay, well, they gave up 400 yards of offense, right? And Taysom Hill ran for 100 yards. So, like, there were big plays that they gave up. right?
Uh,
But we kind of talked about, Taysom Hill being that kind of unique player. There's not a lot of tape with him. He hasn't really played this year. And running quarterbacks give the Cowboys problems. So, I mean, that happened a little bit. And then the Saints were like, we have to throw the ball
yep.
sometime.
Yep.
And he threw 4 interceptions.
About 12
So,
minutes left in the third quarter ish. They was like, hey, Taysom,
right, right.
we gotta throw it. Are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
okay. Are you sure you're okay? Yeah, I'm okay. And then he's not
Man.
okay.
Yeah.
Listen,
D Law messes up that finger on the throwing hand, and then the floodgates open.
I mean, I had told you that night, I will never tolerate disrespect on Taysom Hill's name as like, this dude, he's a warrior, okay? But like he is not a good quarterback. He ain't even
No,
like
not a
okay,
good quarterback.
okay?
Not a good
But like
quarterback.
a football player, like a guy, like
Sure.
a leader, a
He could be on
leader
my
on your
team.
team, all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Like
Not
I
for what they're
want
gonna
him
pay
around.
him, but he could be on my team.
But
Um,
nah. But
but yeah.
you said a little bit about D Law, but like remember in the pregame or in the pregame,
I
I
was gonna
asked, I
say, do you
said,
remember what
yeah,
question you
yeah, yeah.
asked?
Whoa. I was not asking it. Okay, I
Oh,
had
you were just promoting a healthy discussion.
I
Sure.
just you
Oh,
see, you sound insincere. You
Juan.
sound insincere,
Hold that
and
thought,
now
Juan. We're
Juan.
gonna get back to it. Hold
Okay,
that
yeah,
thought.
here
Hold
we
that thought.
go. Nope, I
We
see
got
it.
we got we got a
I
run
see it.
sheet built
I
here.
see
Okay,
it.
we'll just give me
I
like
see
20
it.
minutes. We'll be back on that
Yep.
topic shortly.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, D Law back. D Law looking good out there. Like I said, bangs up Taysom Hill's finger on that one pass defense that was almost a strip sack. Doesn't really show up major on the stat sheet, but he still is doing a great job setting the edge, in the run game.
Nah, man,
Um,
dude was a absolute force.
it was all over the place, and,
Absolute
and that was
force.
with him playing a limited snap count, wasn't
Yep.
really in on a lot of third downs, right? It's good to see this team getting healthy.
Yep.
Um, and one thing that we talked about last week is how they were going to use him and Micah Parsons together. Watched a little bit of film just a couple days ago, and there were 5 or 6 situations where D-Law was on the inside rushing with Parsons on the outside,
I
and
mean, when
I really
Gregory
like
comes
that
back,
look.
it's just
I
gonna be
really
a
like that look,
problem.
bro. I really like that look. But defense overall, like you said, outside of the total yardage, played a really nice game. Good to see them back on that turnover train.
The picks.
The pick from J-Ron Curse, bro.
My
That
man,
was that's one of the best plays I've ever seen, period.
my
And
man just makes plays. Like he just makes
man,
plays, bro.
okay, but do you know who really made that play though? Like Curse made the play, right? And it was
Mm-hmm.
amazing. But so again, going back, watching some of the all 22 film and something, I saw Parsons there, right? Like he tipped the ball into Curse's hand. But when you actually watch like the all 22, like the bird's eye view, right? And see what happened, Micah Parsons slides over to line up in the slot against Kenny Stills. I'm not saying Kenny Stills is like some great wide receiver, but he's like
And
5
there ain't
foot
no
nothing.
linebacker
Right.
have any business
Right.
covering him.
You're not covering Kenny Stills in the slot, bro. He runs this little wheel route, and Parsons is behind him by like 2.5 yards when the ball is thrown. So he did beat him, right? Initially. And as soon as that ball gets thrown, that closing speed, like he closes like a 3-yard gap like that.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it just by the time the ball gets there, he's basically even with Kenny Stills, tips it up in the air, and then Curse dives for the interception. I mean, it just when you look at that all around, I mean, Micah Parsons is just a game breaker, bro.
Yeah.
As much as I want him to rush the passer, he can't do that if he's rushing the passer, right? And that was a very impactful play because it led to an interception.
Mm-hmm.
You also get picks from so his ninth of the season. Devontae KZ gets another one.
Look, he
And
would have
then
had 10 if Taysom Hill wasn't so
right, yeah,
trash with the
for real,
accuracy.
threw it behind him like
Homeboy was
6
tracking.
times.
Yeah, homeboy was tracking that ball where he slid in. He was locked in on that one. It was just a bad throw.
Nah, he was. So he gets pick 9 because he gets one, and then Carlos Watkins puts the cherry on top. Big boy with the pick 6 that was thrown right at his face.
And Taysom Hill, listen, this is finger, no finger. Like to throw a ball directly at the lineman's face is inexcusable. Like, if
Hilarious,
you
bro.
watch behind him, it's so open. Bro, just throw it literally in that general direction, right? Like, it can
Went
even be
right
one of
to his
them Brett
face.
Favre little pushes, and that thing will be, he'll get it and turn upfield. It was
Anywhere
just so
other than
bad.
the lineman's face is a
It
good
was so
decision.
bad. It
So,
was so
um,
bad, man. But
yeah,
shout
good
out.
for us. Good
You
for
never,
us.
hey, that's that I've been preparing my whole career for this play.
Yeah, right.
So
Like
it was
shout out to
lit.
the big man for getting a pick six.
He put
That
the
just doesn't
hands up
come
and was
around very
gone,
often.
man. That was good.
Cool. Any other thoughts before we get into winners, losers,
Nah,
and into these discussion topics?
I think that's it.
Cool. So let's talk some winners, losers from the game. We've already kind of talked about a couple of these guys. Starting on the offensive end, my offensive winner, I was looking at CD, but I went with Tony Pollard actually.
Oh yeah.
And again, I know the stat line wasn't super inspiring, right? 7 carries for 71 yards, heavily weighed by the 58-yard touchdown. He only had a
Hmm.
couple catches, but that 58-yard touchdown broke the game open, right? Like that 58-yard touchdown, second week in a row that Tony Pollard has come up with a big touchdown, in a key situation. And it didn't work out for us as well, last week, obviously, with the loss there that we took against the Raiders. But Tony Pollard just has that game breaking ability. He's got that game breaking speed.
Hmm.
I saw a stat earlier today when I was kind of rolling through some stuff that said Pollard got his speed up to 21 and some change miles per hour on that touchdown run, which is the fastest ball carrier by the Cowboys all season. So that dude is booking it. And we've talked a lot about the share of work, right, between Pollard and Zeke. Pollard only had 10 touches, but Zeke only had 15. So I mean, it really wasn't a wide disparity in
The
how they handled the
disparity, I
ball.
think, was in the snap counts.
Right. And
45-28 to Zeke.
and the big thing with that is they can't trust Pollard in pass protection. Right? Like
It's the
Pollard is just
only
he's never going to play 40 snaps in a game.
thing that
Um,
makes sense of them handing him the ball still too, because he's clearly
right.
hurt. You seen him dragging his
Right.
leg. I mean,
Right.
you
Right.
just trying to keep the
Uh,
defense honest there. So
right.
I know it's kind of frustrating to watch, but I
Yeah.
think
I think we need to see
Irv
something
said
different.
it. Irv said it before the game. I think I was watching some of the highlights, and he was like, "Hey, we trying to protect Dak Prescott, as Zeke can still protect Dak." And with those
Mhm.
when you look at those pass blocking, numbers, I'm not taking one of the best blockers I have off the field if
Right.
he can still block.
So that is, that's part of that there. But I
Hmm.
do like seeing the touches, getting closer and closer there.
Yeah, yeah,
Um as for my loser,
a
I
loser.
I think it's time to be done with the Connor McGovern experiment, man.
We done?
Yeah, and I mean, look, on this show, we really didn't have a strong opinion one way or the other.
Yeah.
Um, you know, we talked about the Connor Williams penalties, right? So we talked about, where it made sense in some spots, give McGovern a chance. Let's see what it looks like. And really what we've seen, over the couple weeks is that Connor McGovern is stronger than Connor Williams, right? Which from a guard position, that's something that you look for is that overall strength. Connor Williams, a little bit undersized, not really that strong of a guy. But what I think we've started to see with this offense is that we really want that left guard to be more athletic, right? More versatile, more
Hmm.
agile. Because when you see, McGovern kind of sliding over to get the second level of blocks, or if he's got a pull, right? If he's got to slide to a blocker, he's just late, right?
Hmm.
He's having a lot of issues in the run game in particular, keeping his spot and opening up holes. Even this last game, right? There were a couple plays that I watched where he just doesn't get his feet there. He doesn't get
Hmm.
over, and the linebacker or the end or the nose is in the hole, to meet Zeke or Pollard before there's
Yeah.
even anything they can do about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
No push.
yeah, so I think it's time, man, right? Because Williams really wasn't playing poorly. right? You had the penalties, and he got beat up a couple times by some elite talent like Javon Hargraves.
Right,
But
right.
I
The
mean,
dude, right. The only
what are you
bad
going to ask him to
games,
do?
right. It's been elite pass rushers, you
Right.
know.
So McGovern gets my L, and hopefully he gets to go back to the bench sooner than later.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, like I said, the penalties I think warranted at least can we see? Can we see if
Yeah,
we get the
sure,
same production where
sure.
you're not hurting us? No. So like
Right. And like I said,
homeboy is
we
gonna have to keep his hands to himself a little more.
mhm,
And
mhm.
yeah, let's switch back. I'm
Yeah.
good.
No, for sure. On the defense side, winner for this week, obviously we talked about a lot of great plays, 4 interceptions, 2 sacks.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually went with a guy that didn't have any interceptions or sacks,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like is due. I got to give Anthony Brown a little bit of love. Dude had a tough week against the Raiders, man. 4 PI calls. He had 1 DPI call the whole season before last week,
Right. Yeah.
and then he got hit with 4 of them,
Yeah.
right? No DPIs this week. He led the
Mm-hmm.
team in tackles, so he had 9
Mm-hmm.
tackles, and I think 8 of them were solo too,
Yeah, I
so he
mean,
was he was
if
making
it
plays
was
in
just
space.
him, if it was just him in space, I mean, that was
Yeah.
it. That was the end of the play
Yeah,
most of the
he
time.
was he was
Yeah.
get he was beating his one-on-ones, he was making plays in space.
Yep.
He was helping out the first and second level of the defense when Taysom was kind of getting through a little bit on his little
Mm-hmm.
quarterback runs.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really good in coverage, right?
Yeah.
You didn't see him get beat. I know we talked about the Saints not having, this ridiculous offensive
They
talent,
didn't.
um, but he still did what he was supposed to do, right? So Anthony Brown gets the defensive dub for me this week, mainly because I feel really bad that he had to basically wear the L for the Cowboys
I
last week.
mean, really the only play where, he, looked bad was like a deep crossing route where they got the first touchdown. But I mean, they ran them through like 5 people. I mean,
Hmm.
they're
Hmm.
just, you're not going to get through that kind of coverage. It was happening too fast. But other than that, dude was solid. So I feel that. But we have the same loser every week, and I don't feel like we're picking on them.
Well,
It's just, you know, l-
you see what I put in the notes, right?
yeah, the weekly game of where you at,
Weekly
Leighton.
game of where you at, Leighton.
I think this
Where you at,
is
bro?
this is why we was okay to move on from Jalen, right? But you know, I think had Jabril Cox been healthy at this point in the season,
Yep.
we'd see
Yep.
him and Neal get more
Mhm.
snaps before
Mhm.
Leighton would still play, right? And
Sure.
he'd play special teams too, but he wouldn't be, he wouldn't even be on the field.
You know how many
I,
tackles he had on Thursday night? As a starting linebacker.
yeah.
How? How do you make a starting linebacker against a running quarterback
Yeah.
at you? Like, who's supposed to make the play when
Well, I
Taysom
mean,
Hill goes off running?
he's certainly not chasing Taysom Hill down. Like
Right,
that's
but
not
who's
happening.
supposed to? That's
Right.
my point, right? Like, who's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to? That's
Yeah.
his job, right? In a lot of those cases, he's the second level of
Mm-hmm.
the defense. He gets
Mm-hmm.
through the line. You're supposed to be there, right? You're supposed to
Um,
be sideline to sideline. You're supposed to be making plays. You're supposed to. You're
I
supposed to
don't
be
think.
at the point of attack. He's not
Yeah,
there.
I don't think. Again,
He's not there.
I don't think he's out there because of. Yeah, Daniel, exactly right. We
Yep.
need some linebacker depth, which we
Mhm.
lost a little bit. With Cox's injury, it's definitely somewhere where we want to bring in more talent, but you definitely were going to see Leighton to the 10-15 snap a game
Mhm.
range, and
Mhm.
Cox was going to play passing downs and Neal was going to play those hybrid downs. you know um
Well, and I think I
it's just
think
it's
some of
just
that linebacker depth is going to come in the form of Micah Parsons because we should have Randy Gregory back this week, right?
now that's what I was
I
going to
think you're
say.
going to get
Gregory
some of
coming
that
back
probably.
could help that,
Uh,
because
and
if
then
you
we
get
just got to
Parsons.
figure out if J. Ron
Hmm.
Curse wants to be our other linebacker. and
Right.
then we can
Then
look
you
at.
can mix in some other
Mhm.
people on that level and get Leighton out of there.
Yeah.
But I think
I
that's the only reason he's still out there, man.
Yeah, I
That's
will
it.
say, and I haven't done a whole lot of looking into the draft research, anything like that yet. But I would be really surprised if we don't spend a top, one of our top three picks on a linebacker this
Absolutely.
next year.
Oh
So
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I think that depth is coming. I just don't think it's coming at this point in the season, right? 13
yeah.
weeks in,
Depends
you
on.
kind of are who you are, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, so hopefully with Gregory coming back, Quinn can get
Yeah.
creative with that
What
defense to slide
tackle,
Micah around some
defensive
more.
end, linebacker, depending on how
Excuse me.
free agency shakes out too.
Right, right, right. Um, but yes, definitely need to be looking at some more linebackers. What Juan gone
Parsons
for?
should only be rushing. He's a 3-4 outside
Okay,
linebacker.
okay, okay, okay. I like that discussion a
Yeah.
lot because I personally have gone back and forth on that, quite a bit. Because I mean, look, you're right. There's nothing more impactful than a pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like I've heard the Jeff Kavanaugh on the Fan. He likes to make this comparison and say, if you're telling me this guy could be Von Miller or he could be Bobby Wagner, I'm taking Von Miller.
Right.
Right, like if this guy is Von Miller, I want Von Miller.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, I'm starting to get more on the side of, man, just let the dude play wherever, right? Because again, we talked about it, just a few minutes ago about the plays that he made against Kenny Stills that led to that Ron Curse interception. And that was a big play, right? Leighton's not getting
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Neal's not getting there. Jabril Cox might not even get there,
Right.
because they just don't have the closing speed like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's only a pass rusher, he's not making a play
I
right
was
there.
about to say I I can see where you're coming from, but I don't know if Von Miller's was ever, talented enough to stand up and be Bobby Wagner.
Right.
And
Like, why
Bobby
can't he just be
Wagner's not
both?
talented enough to put his hand in the
Right. Why
dirt,
can't he
right?
just be
Like
both?
he can do both.
Why can't
And
he just
don't
be
take
both?
one of them away from him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still not firm on that opinion, I will say.
Yeah.
I think I'm starting to lean more that way, but early on in the season, I was definitely, kind of where Juan's head is at, is just, man, let the dude line up and rush the passer.
And I mean, I guess from the perspective of like you might find another off-ball linebacker more likely than you'll find a dominant pass rusher. Um,
Sure.
so I mean, I feel that too. But
And I think you're
it's
going to look at,
interesting.
like a guy like D-Law potentially being a cap, salary
Cap
cap casualty,
casualty.
right?
Gregory
This
gonna want
next
the
year.
bag,
Right.
deservedly so,
So, I mean,
right?
we may
So,
need an edge rusher like that.
mm-hmm,
We got to see how that all kind of plays out if we keep
mm-hmm,
our guys. But I think for now, I'm okay if Micah Parsons is just that versatile Swiss Army knife. Because you got to remember, man, not only is he rushing from the outside, we've talked about him rushing up the middle too, right?
yeah,
I kind of think I want that versatility for him to just be able to move all over the place, right? You don't know where he's coming from. You don't know if he's going to drop into coverage,
mm-hmm,
or if he's coming. I really like that aspect of him. And the dude has proven me wrong every step of the way when it comes to, pass coverage and things like that. Cause that was probably my biggest
mm-hmm,
concern coming into the season. If the dude,
mm-hmm,
if he couldn't cover a wide receiver in the slot like he can, like he's shown that he can more than once, if he couldn't, carry somebody coming across the middle like he can, if he couldn't get sideline to sideline when a quarterback is scrambling the way that he can, sure, he should be an edge rusher. But that dude can do so many things. I just don't know. I don't know that we should just reduce him to the one thing.
mm-hmm,
It's a great discussion though.
mm-hmm.
Speaking of great discussions,
Speaking of,
got a couple things that I wanted to run down with you here this evening. I feel like we put a pretty good bow on the Saints game, unless you've got
yeah,
anything
man.
to add there.
Nah, hey, dub's a dub. Let's move it on.
Bellissimo.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So we'll get back into the defense here in just a minute because I do want to carry on that Parsons conversation a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But what everybody wants to talk about,
Everybody?
well, we'll scroll back up to this. Hold on, where's that?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and start the discussion off for us here, Juanito. Turns out
JD say what he
Kellen Moore is not a play calling wizard.
What?
First of all, let me agree with you there. He's not a play calling wizard because he is the scheme god. Okay? So that's first things first. He's not a wizard. He's the
Wow.
scheme
And I thought
god.
you were gonna be like, yeah, there's some things he could do better, but you're like, he's a god.
Secondly, there's some things that he could do better.
Oh, oh, okay.
But so I kind of want to set this up a little bit, right? Because we were playing a very intense game of 2K last night, and then one of us and our teammates got into I don't know which one of us, one of the two of us, you or me, got into a heated discussion about Kellen Moore.
That
And
was you.
I couldn't remember. It was me? Okay.
That was
Me, myself, and one of our teammates got into a heated discussion mid-game. Middle of the third quarter, really, really bad timing. Team was not happy.
See,
Juan.
Juan,
See this.
you
Okay, but
trying
see,
to be
this is
inflammatory.
right.
You trying to be inflammatory.
This is
That's
what I was about to
ridiculous.
say. Right. So last night we're talking to Los, who was in the comments on the show the other day, spitting fire, and he said, "What did he say? He says he's a trash play caller. Is
He
that what
did.
he
He said
said?
he was a trash play
So he's a
caller.
trash play caller, right?" And Juan said he's not a wizard, right? If you want to talk about he's not a wizard, we could have maybe a sensible discussion there. But Jason Garrett 2.0 is silly. Like
Right.
that's just ludicrous. The idea that the offense that was the best offense in the league through 10 weeks of the season and is
Mhm.
still like a top 3 offense in basically every category, even with some of these woes. And Kellen Moore is Jason Garrett 2.0.
Right.
Chill out, bro.
Mhm.
Chill out.
Mhm.
So I just want to stack up a couple things really
No
quickly,
way
right?
around it, he said.
I'm gonna stack up a couple things here, right? And then we'll talk about how Kellen could be better.
Okay.
But we're gonna stack up a couple things here.
All right. Talk to me.
All right. First thing, nobody wants to talk about injuries, right? But injuries are a thing.
I think we have talked about injuries. They just haven't been
But
harped on because we've been
because we're winning,
overcoming them.
because
Right.
we've been winning, right?
Right.
That's what I was gonna say. Nobody wants to talk about injuries because we're winning, we're overcoming. And then as soon as we lose, injuries are no longer a cop out because we won without injuries previously.
For sure.
Right. So
Mhm.
because I won 2 weeks ago, I could also win this week with the same people
Right.
out.
Mhm.
Sure, theoretically, that's true. But
Mhm.
Amari Cooper missed 2 games. He's never missed a game with the Cowboys. Missed his first 2 games with the Cowboys. Tyron Smith missed 3 games. CD Lamb missed 2.5 games.
Mhm.
Dak missed 1 game.
Mhm.
Michael Gallup missed 6 games.
Mhm.
Zeke hasn't missed any games, but we've chronicled very well,
Right.
where he's at. So, okay, right? Like I gotta deal with Terrence Steele and
Steele out
La'el
with
Collins
COVID.
and
Collins
Connor
out. Yeah.
McGovern
You didn't
and
even mention Jarwin.
yeah, Blake Jarwin's hurt right
Right.
now, right? Then I got to deal with Cedric Wilson and Noah Brown and Malik Turner, basically, are my wide receivers. I mean, we haven't even had like a real consistency with our team, right? We haven't
Right. The
had
number, like the actual number ones, right? At every
right,
position.
they haven't been on
We
the
haven't even
field.
played. Yeah. We
And to
haven't even
Daniel's point
played.
here, thank you for doing research for the show.
Well,
Third in
some
points per
people are
game,
scholars.
first in yards, right? I mean, just come on with that, man. To the idea that Kellen is just trash and he doesn't know what he's doing because we had a bad run of 3 or 4 games. Y'all realize the Chiefs couldn't score for 4 weeks, right? They were like 3-4 at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all realize the Rams got destroyed by the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo, right? And that's Sean McVay, the offensive god.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, come on. Everybody goes through these rough patches. The idea that we could take a 12-game sample size and have 4 weeks that don't look great, and now he is trash, is ludicrous. Now, Dak's been a little bit inconsistent. We talked about that,
mad
right?
aggressive.
Run game issues. We haven't been able to run the ball very well.
Uh-huh.
We've been playing musical chairs with the offensive line.
Uh-huh.
Now, for me, where Kellen Moore takes some culpability in all of this, we talk about the run game. The Cowboys run to the tune of about 7 yards per carry when we hand it off and run outside.
Uh-huh.
We don't run for 7 yards a carry when we hand it up the middle. What has Kellen Moore done a lot the last 3 or 4 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Run it up the middle.
Yeah, boy.
So we can have that discussion, right? Where are the
Mm-hmm.
outside runs, especially with a guy like Tony Pollard, who we've been trying to get more involved in the game, kind of taking that share. He can run between the tackles, but that dude is lethal in space. Every time he gets outside, he could break it, right?
Yeah, I'd love to
So
see some them zone
gotta right,
outsides
gotta drop some inside run or some
tosses.
outside runs, little sweeps, a little something.
Uh-huh.
The motion has gotten
Right.
a little stagnant, right? There's still motion in the plays, but we're not seeing motion to really create chaos. We're just kind of seeing motion to set up the play and see where the defense is,
Right.
right? Some of that creativity has been lacking the last few weeks. And then you got to put some of the musical chairs that they play with the offensive line on him, right? He's got a voice in that room. So if he's out there saying, hey, let's put Terrence Steele at right tackle and then Collins at right tackle the next series, and then we're going to play Williams, and then we're going to play McGovern, right? And then we're going to play Steele at left tackle, and Collins is going to
Mm-hmm.
some of that has to go on Kellen Moore's head, right, as the OC. So if we want to have a sensible discussion centered around let's run the ball outside some more. Let's get a little bit more creative with our motion
Uh-huh.
and let's pick 5 guys to block.
Uh-huh.
We can have that conversation.
Uh-huh.
If we want to talk about my quarterback's missing throws, that's not Kellen Moore's fault. If we
Uh-huh.
want to talk about my running back has one leg, that's not Kellen Moore's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
If we want to talk about I'm missing my receiving core, any 1 or 2 members from that receiving core at any given point, that's not Kellen Moore's fault, y'all. Like, it's just not. So ease up, right? We can have a discussion, say that he could be a little bit better, but Jason Garrett 2.0, trash play calling, that's just not accurate. It's
I guess
statistically wrong,
I
right?
guess the letdown when I think about it is that there was so much creativity through those first 5 games, right? Um
Yeah. I mean, even up until
that
the bye week, right? Like the Cowboys
yeah,
were rolling.
that when you saw some of these, it's almost like when we were talking about the Saints, right? Not that, I mean, Kellen has a long way to go to get on Sean Payton's level, but
Mhm.
we kind of talked about like, hey, man, I mean, as long as he's got football players, he probably gonna move
Right.
that
You're
ball,
gonna
right?
figure out a way, right? You're gonna
He's
figure
gonna
out a
figure
way.
something out. And there was like, I guess something left to be desired,
Yeah.
there with that, you just really thought like, oh man, here we go. He's gonna draw
Mhm.
something up, and uh, uh it got, and it felt like it got more plain. Like the more we struggled, the
Sure.
more plain, right?
I do
The
he
more
he's got to be
predictable.
better. He's got to
Yeah.
be better, but let's just not throw everything on his head and heap it on him. Like, this team is perfectly healthy and we've got all 11 guys and we played with the exact same starting lineup all year. And all of a sudden he just forgot how to call a play, right? Because it's just not the case. He's got to be
Well,
better, but it's just not the case.
I don't, and again, I do think he's a great, coach, play caller, young play caller, but it's easier when, everything's rolling.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is the harder part, right? Like he's got to grow, right, as a play caller, right, and mature. There's a reason he's the coordinator and not the, you know. I know some people want to, or go ahead and put him on the head coach watch, but there's time, right? Like he needs time. I hope he gets a dope college head coaching gig. I mean, maybe down the line,
Juan's
but I
such a
don't.
troll, bro.
Right, like I'm pretty sure he's trolling. But yeah, man. I mean, it will
But I mean,
get.
to that point, right? Just before we move off the Kellen Moore
Hmm.
piece, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, right? Everybody is freaking out because how are we going to keep Kellen Moore? He's going to be a head coach next year.
Right,
Everybody wants him. He's going to go here. What are
right,
we going to do? Is
right,
our offense going to survive without him?
right.
And now we got people like Juan in the chat, like, man, I hope he gets a dope college gig.
Well, he's Jason Garrett,
Come
so
on, bro. Like, I mean, it's been 4 weeks.
he's
Chill
Jason
out just a
Garrett,
little
bro.
bit. And
He's Jason Garrett.
honestly, maybe this 4 week span will be a good thing because maybe now he won't get a head coach college job and we can still have a kick ass offensive coordinator to run the show. So,
Good job, Kellen.
those are my thoughts on Kellen Moore. Any different or dissenting opinions to make?
Trust the process.
I'm here for it. Kellen Moore's a good OC. Chill out, everybody. It's gonna be fine.
You know
On
who? Hey, you know who ain't in question right now? You know who got all the swag up in that locker
who got the
room?
swag?
DQ baby. Listen, Dan
Dan Quinn
Quinn.
is cold. That's the
Listen.
dude we got to make sure we keep for sure, though. Like for real, for real.
Listen, and you know, part of it is that, you know, you love to see someone bounce back, right? So that's good, right? He seems likable too, right? Like even the
Mm-hmm.
player, you know, the players talk about him as, yeah, it's my weird. What does Micah call my weird uncle,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Something like that.
Yeah, you know, he's my weird uncle. Yeah, but you put me on the stream, but that's okay. We can just look at Eli for a second. Oh, okay, bet. There we go. Um, I mean, the one of the things that's making Quinn, you know, or elevating his name so much is the play of that unit, man. The defense at the beginning of this season, we were just praying that the defense wouldn't be historically bad. And, you know, let's be 20th in the league, right? 20th to 18th. Let's just not lose it every game for the offense. But, you know, when we play a really good team, we're probably going to get beat because, you know, they'll just be a year, you know, they're just going to need a year and this, that, and the other. Scratch that, right? Like we throwing that out the window because now the question is, do we have two, not one, but two defensive player of the year candidates? Two on this defense at the beginning of the year. If you were like, yo, you gonna DeMarcus Lawrence is going to be hurt half the
Mm-hmm.
year. All right. But you're gonna have two defensive player of the year candidates. I mean,
And,
just come on.
and I think
Just
they're
come
gonna be
on.
top five, right? Like
I
I legitimately think that they're in that top five discussion right now when you look at the DPOY. Uh, so we were kind of bouncing back and forth some of these stats with Micah Parsons.
I mean,
Um,
I'm looking at him right now. It's sick.
Yeah, right. And we had what was it like 2 weeks ago maybe? Megan was in the chat and she asked the question, between Parsons and Diggs. So I'm just gonna kind of lay out these statistics here real quick,
Let's do it.
and then let's have a discussion, Parsons or Diggs. And
Let's do it.
all of you lovely commenters in the chat that I've now attacked and offended for the last 45 minutes,
Yeah, but
feel free to join in the conversation.
I mean, sure, you know, just carry your sword around and keep cutting people's head off because you know
I
the
might be
sense.
nice about this one. I guess it just depends
Sure,
on what side of the fence they fall on.
sure.
Um, and I don't know that I have an answer to it still, honestly, right? It was a tough discussion then. Um, but so Parsons, we'll start there. And we were kind of looking at some player comps between him and Miles Garrett at first, right? Because that's a guy that's been talked about a lot as a DPOY candidate. And then the other guy has
TJ.
really been TJ Watt, right? That's kind of
Mm-hmm.
been talked about in that discussion. So first of all, Miles Garrett. Parsons has more tackles, 72. He has 4 less sacks. So Miles Garrett has 14, but Parsons has 10.
Mm-hmm.
72 tackles, 10 sacks. Miles Garrett has 42 tackles. So Mike has got him by 30 on the tackles. 25 quarterback hits to 28. 16 tackles for loss for Micah Parsons. 15 for Miles Garrett. And
Mm-hmm.
then Parsons has 2 forced fumbles. Garrett hasn't forced any fumbles yet this year.
Yeah,
So
and I.
Parsons has more tackles,
Uh-huh.
basically the same amount of quarterback hits, basically the
Mm-hmm.
same tackles for loss, more forced fumbles, and 4 less sacks.
And I mean, you know, just you know, you mentioned TJ. Really, the big difference is the sacks. He's got 16 sacks,
16, yeah. So he's
right?
six,
To
plus
Micah's
6.
10,
And you said
but
4 forced fumbles, I think,
right, he's
right? When
got
we
two
looked at
more
it.
forced fumbles. But I mean,
But that's a
I
dude
just
rushing the passer 100%
right,
of the
he's
time,
rushing the passer every
right?
play. You know,
So you got to give some credence to that there. But those are the only 3 guys in the league that have 25 quarterback hits, 15 tackles for loss, and double-digit sacks. Those are the only 3 guys. Mike is one of
so
3 players that have that stat lined up right
yep.
there. So Mike is cold. Now, Diggs crushing the competition in interceptions, right? 9 interceptions. He gives up about a 54% completion rate, so it's not the best, but it's also not bad, right?
Nah.
About half the time it gets thrown his way, it's a completed pass. Quarterback rating is like a 54, so it's not a good quarterback rating
Yeah.
against him.
No.
And when you
So,
really break it down, right, he's been targeted 82 times this year.
mm-hmm.
He has 9 interceptions,
Yep.
which means he's getting an interception more than 10% of the time.
Well, and if you put your interceptions and pass defenses together, I mean, 28% of the time the ball, I mean, more than a quarter of the time the ball is going,
Right.
like, I'm gonna knock it
He's
down
either
or I'm gonna
getting a
pick it.
hand on it or he's
Right.
picking it, right?
Like that's it.
And that is a ridiculous percentage,
It's
right?
the
For
rate,
either
bro.
one of those, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be 10% plus, basically 1 out of every 9 passes that gets thrown his way is an
Yep.
interception.
Yep.
And another 1.5 gets knocked down, right? So out of every 9 passes that come his way, he's intercepting or batting down 2.5 out of them. I
Yep.
mean, come on, man. Like this, it's disgusting. Um, Not to mention he's got 2 touchdowns on the season, right? So he's got 2 pick
Mm-hmm.
six. So 9 interceptions, 2 pick sixes, 14 pass defenses.
Mm-hmm.
The dude has been cold. Looks like we got Juan in the chat. His votes for Parsons. Value, value, value.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an interesting discussion too, right? Because I would have said at the beginning of the season that picking an off-ball linebacker at number 12 was a really bad pick, value
Mm-hmm.
wise, because it is a really bad pick, value
Mm-hmm.
wise.
Mm-hmm.
But then he turns into Baby Von
You
Miller.
ain't know, yeah, you ain't know all
So
the extra titles, right?
right,
You ain't read
right.
the rest of the card.
He's Bobby Miller,
Right.
Von Wagner out there,
Right.
just doing his swaggy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Man, where do you fall on that? I know, like I said, I know we kind of talked about that a little bit, but a couple of weeks ago, kind of looking at their numbers, looking at what talk about value, like Juan said, right? Like there's pretty much nothing more valuable than rushing the passer or taking the ball
I
away.
I
So
really it's hard because you haven't seen someone in a long time take away the ball at the rate that Diggs has. It always catches, the headlines. And it
hmm
always should. I mean, in a passing league, picking the ball is the most valuable, turnover. Right? That being said, when I look at Diggs' production and I say, if I look like Parsons, hey, low key, when he
Hey,
was, listen, Daniel, when he was like, he's Bobby Miller, I was
it
like, in
did.
my head, I was like, he
Hey,
Bobby
but
Boucher. That's really
but
what he is.
but Parsons said that when he got drafted, his first interview, he said, "I'm like the water boy, see ball,
Straight
hit
up.
ball." That's what
That's
he
it.
said.
That's it. You
Yo,
know,
that's funny.
I'm Bobby Boucher,
I
baby.
like that. Juan said Diggs is Richard Sherman 2.0. He's a little bit better athlete than Richard Sherman, right? Maybe more like a Marcus Peters, kind of that long, not super athlete, but still a good athlete. And Richard Sherman is like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
Diggs isn't quite that
It,
big,
but if
uh,
if I look at
but a good
these two
cover three
stat
corner.
lines, though, right? I look at these two stat lines and I say, okay, I get to choose now, right? This is hypothetical football land. I get to choose which person's stats I need to replace, right? With other people on the team.
Mm-hmm.
I need like 3 dudes to replace Parsons' stats.
How many dudes you need to replace 9 interceptions?
I
The
mean,
team's got like
look,
14,
I
bro.
get it.
It's
I
nine
get it.
other
I
dudes
get it.
or 10 other
I
dudes
get
on
it.
the team.
The pick rate is ridiculous, okay? But we know that, I mean, bro, no one can sustain that. There's no way you sustain. I get it. You're gonna have a
Sure,
nice
sure.
season.
He's not. Yeah, it's probably never
It's
going to happen again.
exactly right.
Probably never.
It's
But okay. But isn't that what kind of makes the case for DPOY that much more
sure
intriguing,
because
right?
it's unique.
Because it's never going to happen
I
again.
think I said that at the
It
beginning.
hasn't
Is
happened in what, like
very
25
unique.
years or something
It's
like that.
very unique to see someone, especially with how much we throw the ball now. You would
Close.
you
It's
would think
close. It's
that there
close.
would be such an uptick in interceptions, but there's not, right? Like it's still hard to pick off a bunch of balls every year,
Right.
right?
Right. Right. It just doesn't
Um,
happen.
but if you tell me I'm not gonna give you 9 picks, right? Maybe the other corners I give you for the rest of the year are going to, play good defense, right? And maybe
Mm-hmm.
pick off 3 of
Mm-hmm.
those balls. But they're going to play really good coverage, right? Maybe even better coverage than Trayvon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think anyone's saying like his coverage skills are, elite. It's the ball skills, right? Um, but if I look at Parsons and I say, I'm taking away 72 tackles, 10 sacks, 25 QB hits, 16 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles, right? And it's like,
That's
yeah,
a
all
lot,
right,
bro.
who am I
That's
feeling?
a lot.
Who like I'm calling 2 or 3 dudes.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a decent chance, a good last 5 games of the season. Parsons could have triple digit tackles, right? He could go 100 tackles, and he could go to 15 sacks, right? That could go
100
100
tackles and
tackles,
15
15
sacks.
sacks, 20 something tackles for loss, right? 30 something quarterback hits.
And I mean,
Uh, Maybe
oh,
force another fumble or two. He gets a
I
pick,
mean,
bro.
he
I mean,
might
that's
get a
it.
pick.
I say he gets a pick. That's it, bro.
The only listen,
Randy Gregory and D-Law, right? Come back. They're now your primary edge rushers.
thank you.
Micah gets to go back to play off ball more
Thank
often.
you.
He's still getting, maybe he gets like 13 sacks, but he gets like a pick or two. I mean, come on, man. He gets a forced fumble, scoop and score a touchdown. Because if he gets that ball in his hands, he's gone.
I
Because he was a running back
I
more recently than he was a defensive end.
right. I
Like,
just
come on,
don't.
man.
There's when as health notwithstanding, when Michael Parsons' story is finished being written, they're gonna be like, I mean, the dude literally could do everything. Individually, maybe there was people who were as elite as him at one thing. Nobody will be able to put it all together like him. It's just not gonna happen.
I mean, you just haven't seen it, right?
Nope.
And we'll see body of work over the course of his career, like you said.
This is the standard he's setting, though. I mean, look at it, and we're not even toward to the end of the season.
Tough,
5
bro.
games to go. I mean,
I keep
health
looking at my other
notwithstanding,
screen, just looking at the stats because I can't make a decision. Like
I'm
I can't
going.
decide.
I'm going Parsons. Diggs has seriously an all-time great cornerback pick-off season. But he gonna have to pick off like one a game for the rest of the year, and maybe have multiple in a game to like take it away from
And you really
the
think it's
pass
got to be
rushers.
like that?
Yeah, bro, because the pass rush, if
Didn't
unless
who won it? Gilmore won it a few years ago, and we had like 5 or 6 picks, bro, 7 or something like that, and he won it.
yeah, but he had like no anything. Like he didn't allow any. I gotta look that up because I'm pretty sure you couldn't even pass gas on his side of the field, bro. Like
Yeah, I
you
mean,
couldn't do
look,
anything.
Stephon Gilmore had a great season. I'm just saying, bro.
Yeah.
If Diggs comes out here with like 12, 13 interceptions, like just try to put that on a 1-to-1 level with sacks, right? Your best sack artists are going to push for 20 plus sacks a season, right? 15 to 20 sacks in a year. Your best corners are going to push for like 3 to 5 interceptions in a year. If this dude is going to hit 11 or 12, that's nuts, bro. Like that's you're literally talking about doubling or more what everybody else is going to do. He
What
still
was
has more
what was
interceptions than some teams do.
what was the year he won DP?
Gilmore's 2018, 2019, something like that. It was recent, just a few
Here it
years
is. Hold on,
back.
hold on, hold on. 2019
Okay,
DPOY.
2019. Yeah. What was
All
that
right.
stat line?
2019. 6 picks, 2
Okay.
TDs,
Okay.
20 passes defended, a fumble recovery, 53 tackles.
Okay. So Diggs has 3 more interceptions than he had that year.
Uh-huh.
You said 20 pass defenses?
Yeah.
Diggs has 14. He's 6
Uh-huh.
away with 5
Uh-huh.
games to play.
Uh-huh.
2 touchdowns, right? 2 touchdowns.
That's right.
Diggs has 2
Diggs has
touchdowns
2
already on the
TDs. Yeah.
season.
Uh-huh.
50. I think Diggs has 43 tackles when I looked at it earlier today. You said
Mm-hmm.
54.
Mm-hmm.
Now you might look at like his completion percentage on Pro Football Reference or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's exactly what I'm about to go to.
What is wishful thinking? Wishful thinking that Diggs is going to be able to get a couple more picks because
50% completion, 51
yeah, Diggs
completions
is
on
like
101
54% right
targets.
now. Yeah, Diggs is like 54% on 82 targets.
He gave up no touchdowns the entire year.
I think Diggs has been
And a
credited for 2.
44 and a 44 rating.
Okay, I think Diggs is 2 touchdowns and like a 54 rating. So that's literally the only spot that he hasn't beat by any discussable margin, though.
Was that the year that I mean, I know New England had those ridiculous defenses. Was he anchoring like the number one defense or something like that,
New
or
England did
top
have a good
defense?
defense that year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if Diggs is up there, but I mean,
But
God, man,
Cowboys are top 5 in DVOA right now
I
in the
just
league
if
on
Micah
defense.
doesn't slow down, I think the edge is going to go to him. I would pick him. This
I
is no
do.
disrespect to Diggs. It's
No, it's
just what I
weird.
would do. It's
It's
just what
weird
I would do.
because I do think Parsons is the better player. Like I think I'm pretty comfortable saying that he's the better player, but uh, I just again, man, like you look at that, right? Like you're gonna stack up these pass rushers, and they are going to have phenomenal numbers, but none of these pass rushers are going to exceed a previous DPOY sack total by 12, right, or by 8. Whatever the scale would be to go from 6 to whatever Diggs is going to finish with, right? Diggs might double that interception total by the end of the year. That's only 3 more in 5 games. That's not impossible, right? Miles
Yeah.
Miles Garrett and TJ Watt are not going to double the sack totals of any previous DPOY. They're just it's not going to happen.
Okay. I don't know. I don't like that comparison, but whatever.
Well, I'm just trying to scale it, right? Because you'd be
I
talking
don't like
about
that scale.
why?
I don't know.
Why? Because it
They're
doesn't
gonna
happen, right? It
double.
doesn't exist. They can't do it. That's the point.
They're
This
gonna
doesn't happen. It doesn't
double that.
exist. Corners can't do it. But Diggs is. That's the point. That's the point. If you were talking about Trayvon Diggs getting 12 interceptions at the beginning of the year, your face would be exactly what it is right now. It'd be the same thing because you'd be looking at going, that hasn't happened in 30 years. It's not going to happen. There's no way. Just like there's no way that one of these dudes is going to get 30 sacks. It's not going to happen. There's no way. But Diggs is going to do what everybody is saying can't happen. That's got to be credit. It's got to mean something, bro.
It does. It just doesn't mean he's gonna win Defensive Player of the Year, whatever, bro. Like you getting like mad? Okay, you
No,
telling me
I'm
about
not. I'm
this
not.
and whatever, bro. Like
Okay.
okay,
It just
the
doesn't do it enough for
Parsons.
you.
It's no like
Yeah, Parsons is a monster, bro. He is.
again. It's just like
Like you said,
it
I'm not
takes
mad at
too
that
many
discussion either way.
people. It takes too many people to replace what he's doing. That's it.
Oh, I see what you're doing here, Juan. Wishful thinking that D-Law can get it done still. Tank. He said there's nothing left in the tank. Okay. Yeah, he even capitalized it too. That's my fault. I completely missed that. And that may be true, right? And that's why, I said earlier in the show he could be a cap casualty. D-Law could be coming towards the end of it, and then Micah Parsons can be Von Miller, and everybody will be okay with that. Cool. Well, we're at like an hour because we've been having a ton of discussion here. So I think I'm going to save our last discussion topic for after we beat Washington and the point is moot. Because we were going to have a really stupid discussion about how Washington has a chance, but
no, we're good.
We'll just beat them on Sunday, and then we don't have to have that discussion.
I'm good. I'm not. I don't want to do it.
Cool. Well, you got anything else, man? Because I think feel like I was very aggressive tonight.
Yeah, you
I had to get some stuff off my chest.
Talking a lot with your chest.
I just need to make sure that everybody knows and understands this is my show.
Yeah, sure.
And I
got it, buddy.
Speak how I please on my show.
Yeah, we got it.
To whom I please. Yeah. Whenever I please. Yeah. For whatever amount of time I please to do so.
1 minute or 1 hour and 3 minutes and counting.
But I love you all.
Yeah.
I love you all. All right, peeps. We're getting out of here. We'll holler at y'all after the Cowboys before the Cowboys beat the Redskins so we can talk about it. And everybody have a good night. Later.
All right, peace.